My brother sued me for emotional damages after I kicked him out for trying to sleep with my fiancée. If that sounds like a lie, believe me, I wish it was. It started 6 months before my wedding. I'd always been the reliable one, the safe brother, the one who never got into trouble, who saved every paycheck, who showed up to every family emergency. So when Connor called me late one night, crying into the phone about how his girlfriend threw him out and he had nowhere else to go, I didn't even hesitate. "Come stay here," I said. "It's temporary, right? Just till you get back on your feet." He sniffled, paused. "You sure, bro?" I was sure. Back then, I still believed that blood meant something. My fiancée, Marissa, wasn't thrilled about it. Not because she didn't like him. Marissa liked everyone. She was the kind of person who brought extra snacks in case someone forgot their lunch. But she also knew my brother better than I wanted to admit. "Just be careful," she said one night while we were brushing our teeth. "Connor's charming, but not always in a good way." I laughed, spit, rinsed. "He's my brother. Come on." She didn't push. That was Marissa's way. The first 2 weeks were fine. Connor did the dishes, even cooked a couple meals. He'd always had that magnetic energy, funny, sharp, the kind of guy you wanted at a party. I caught him once telling a story about our childhood to Marissa, and she laughed so hard she cried. I watched them from the kitchen, smiling. I remember thinking, maybe this isn't so bad. But then things shifted. Slowly, subtly. Connor stopped job hunting. Said he was reevaluating what he wanted to do. I caught him sleeping till noon, skipping chores, leaving dishes in the sink. Marissa started picking up the slack, and I started making excuses. "He's just adjusting," I told her. Then came the little things. The way he'd lean too close when she was talking. Compliment her dress a little too enthusiastically. Once, I came home early and found them watching a movie on the couch, under the same blanket. There were no clean ones left. Connor said, smiling like it was nothing. Marissa wouldn't meet my eyes. I let it slide, because that's what I did. Until the night I heard them in the kitchen. I was half asleep. It was 1:30 a.m. I got up to grab water and heard them whispering. Her voice low. His voice, not drunk, just soft. "You know he doesn't deserve you, right?" Everything inside me froze. I didn't move. Just stood there in the hallway, listening. "Don't do this," she whispered. "Come on," he said. "Just once. One night. He doesn't even have to know." My throat burned. Then I heard her step back. Her voice sharp. "No. Get out." A chair scraped. Footsteps. Then silence. I walked away before they saw me. I stood in the bathroom, door locked, fists clenched. My reflection didn't even look like me. The next morning, I packed his things. I waited until he came back from his morning jog, because of course, now he jogged, and met him at the front door. "You're done here," I said, throwing the duffel bag at his feet. He blinked, then smiled. "Guess she told you, huh?" I didn't answer. Didn't need to. "You're really kicking me out over that? Come on, man, nothing even happened." I slammed the door. 2 weeks later, I got the paperwork. Civil suit. Emotional distress. Defamation. My own brother was suing me. Marissa wanted to call a lawyer. I couldn't even speak. I just sat on the couch, holding the envelope like it was a loaded gun. That was the moment I realized. Connor didn't just want my roof. He wanted my whole life. And I was about to find out how far he'd go to take it. The first lawyer we called hung up halfway through the story. "Sorry, sir. That sounds like a family dispute, not a legal matter," he said before disconnecting. The second one laughed. Actually laughed. Said something about how, unless Connor had real damages to show, like therapy bills or a job he lost because of me, the whole thing would get tossed out. But it didn't feel tossed. It felt real. The court date was set for April 3rd. The summons didn't care that he was my brother, or that the whole thing was a complete lie. All it cared about was that someone filed a complaint, and now I had to answer it. Marissa stayed calm. "We'll handle it," she kept saying. "We'll get through this." But I could tell it was getting to her. We stopped sleeping well. She started snapping at little things. I caught her crying in the shower twice. And Connor? He doubled down. Started texting my mom, telling her I was turning the whole family against him, that I was dangerous, that he feared for his safety. Then my aunt called me. "He says you threatened to kill him, that you cornered him the night he left." I almost dropped the phone. "That's not true." He packed up and left without a word. "He said you raised your fists, that you shouted things he can't even repeat." I looked at Marissa, who was now pacing behind me. My aunt kept talking, her voice trembling. He's asking if he can stay with me. I wanted to hear your side first. I wanted to scream, but I didn't. I thanked her for calling and said no. I hadn't raised a hand. Not once. Not ever. Marissa took my phone when I hung up. You need to document everything. Every lie he tells. Every message. Every voicemail. She was right. So I started keeping a folder. Connor wasn't subtle. He posted cryptic messages on Facebook, hinting at toxic siblings and being abused by those closest to you. He changed his profile picture to one from our childhood, one where he looked small and innocent. And he started reaching out to Marissa. First it was an email, then a long DM. I'm sorry, he wrote. I messed up, but you and I had a connection. You felt it too. She showed me everything. Thank God. Then he said it. I still love you. I think you settled. You could have had more. I copied the message, saved it, printed it. That night, I sat on the balcony with a whiskey in one hand and my head in the other. I didn't cry. I was too angry for that. I just kept wondering how he got here. How someone I grew up with, someone I protected, shared bunk beds with, fought off bullies for, could turn into this. Then the call came. Blocked number. 10:17 p.m. Hey, big bro, his voice oozed through the line. You ready for court? I didn't answer. You know what I realized? This whole thing, it's your fault. You pushed me out. You turned everyone against me. You came after my fiancée, I said. You lied to our family. You're still lying. He laughed. Actually laughed. That's the thing about stories, he said. It's not about the truth. It's about who people believe. And with that, he hung up. That night, I made a decision. If he wanted a war, I'd give him one. The worst part wasn't the lawsuit. It was realizing how many people wanted to believe it. It started with silence. Family group chat went dark. My cousin Amanda stopped liking our posts. Then my Uncle Rick posted a meme about toxic relatives playing the victim. No names, but the timing wasn't subtle. Marissa noticed it first. They're picking sides, she said one night, holding her phone like it was radioactive. I took it from her, tossed it face down. Let them, but it got harder to ignore. We showed up to my dad's 65th birthday dinner. Connor wasn't there, but his shadow was. My mom wouldn't look me in the eye. My aunt kept asking passive-aggressive questions. So, how's the lawsuit going? Still fighting that poor boy in court? I bit my tongue through the salad course. Lost it during dessert. Do any of you even care what he did to us? What he tried to do? They all went quiet. It wasn't that they didn't know. They just didn't want to know. Dad finally cleared his throat. Maybe you two should sit down and talk. Work it out. I laughed. Actually laughed. He tried to sleep with my fiancée, then sued me. What part of that says talk it out? More silence. More sideways glances. Marissa reached under the table and squeezed my hand. I felt like I was being erased in real time. After dinner, we drove home in silence. Until Marissa spoke. He's manipulating the whole family, turning them against you. No, I said. He's showing them who they've always believed I am. She didn't respond. She didn't need to. The next day, I opened that folder. Screenshots, messages, timelines. I started organizing it all like a lawyer would. I wasn't going to let him win just because he could lie better. I was going to bury him in truth. And then I found the voicemail. I had almost deleted it weeks ago. It was short, muffled, left in the middle of the night. You think you're better than me. Connor's voice hissed through my speakers. You always have. But guess what? Marissa wouldn't even be with you if I hadn't flamed out first. You're the consolation prize. Marissa walked in just as I paused it. Play it, she said. It's trash. He's just trying to get in my head. Play it, she repeated. So I did. When it ended, she stood still for a long time. Then she said something I didn't expect. You need to go see him. What? He's escalating. And the more we hide from him, the more he controls the narrative. You want to end this? Look him in the eye. Let him know you're not afraid. I hated the idea. Every cell in my body screamed against it. But she was right. So 2 days later, I drove across the city to the address listed on the court papers. Some dingy apartment near downtown. Cracked steps. Faded numbers on the mailbox. I knocked. Nothing. Knocked again. Heard movement. The door opened, and there he was. My brother. Unshaven. Hair greasy. Same smug eyes. Well, the defendant shows up in person. I didn't rise to it. We need to talk. That's what court's for. You want money? Drop the act. Name your price. He leaned against the frame, crossed his arms. You think this is about money? It's always about money with you. He didn't deny it, just smiled. I want you to lose. I want everyone to see you the way I've always seen you. Boring. Safe. Second best. My jaw tightened. You're still that kid crying because I got the better birthday present. Still that little boy hoping dad would finally say he was proud of you. I stepped forward. And you're still the parasite who burns every bridge and wonders why there's no one left to carry you. Something shifted in his eyes. Just for a second. A flicker of something fragile. You think you're untouchable, he said. No, I replied. I just know who I am. And who I'm not. I'm not your punching bag. Not your alibi. Not your scapegoat. I turned and walked away. He didn't follow. That night, Marissa and I sat on the floor of our living room. She handed me a hard drive. What's this? Every screenshot. Every recording. Every message. If this goes to trial, we're ready. I held it like it was a grenade. She leaned her head on my shoulder. You're not alone in this. And for the first time in months, I believed her. The day the court papers hit the mailbox again, something in me broke. I'd already answered his first complaint. Our lawyer filed a motion to dismiss, submitted all the evidence, the texts, the messages to Marissa, the threats, even the voicemail. But Connor didn't back down. He doubled it, filed an amended complaint, added a claim for character defamation and loss of personal relationships. What relationships? He'd burned every one. But the legal system doesn't care who's lying. It cares about who can drag it out longest. Our lawyer, Megan, called me at 8:02 that morning. We need to talk. He's switched attorneys. Is that bad? It's strategic. He's working with a firm that's known for drawing blood in civil court. They'll take this all the way. Marissa sat beside me on the bed, holding my hand as Megan walked us through the new demands, a formal public apology, a settlement, and a non-disclosure agreement. Basically, shut up, pay up, and let him rewrite the ending. I couldn't breathe. I'm not apologizing, I said. He tried to destroy us. And he's not done, Megan replied. 3 days later, the firm deposed Marissa. We sat in a windowless conference room while Connor's lawyer asked the same question 12 different ways. Did you ever feel unsafe in the home? Did the defendant ever raise his voice to you? Did you have a prior romantic connection to the plaintiff? Marissa never flinched. Her voice never shook. No, and absolutely not. But afterward, she collapsed in the car. I feel like they scraped something off my bones, she whispered. I wanted to kill him. I didn't say it, but I thought it. And in that moment, I understood how people break, how they stop playing by the rules. Because what's the point of rules when the liar gets to sue the truth out of you? That night, I opened a folder I hadn't touched since the beginning. It was titled Connor History. Inside were things I never wanted to see again. A police report from college, when he was caught trespassing on campus housing after being banned. A credit card bill from my name that he racked up and never paid. A note from our mom, handwritten, begging me not to press charges back then. He's just lost, sweetheart. Don't make it worse. I stared at it for a long time. He's not lost. He's a weapon. A fire that pretends it needs saving so it can burn you slower. Marissa came in, holding 2 mugs of tea. She saw the folder and didn't ask. We need to go on the offensive, I said quietly. I'm done defending. She nodded. Whatever it takes. The next morning, I drove to Mom's house. She answered in a robe, eyes tired. Like she hadn't been sleeping either. I need to talk, I said. She let me in. Made coffee. We sat in the living room that still had pictures of both of us on the mantel. Me in a suit, him in a cap and gown. Neither of us who we really were. Why are you doing this? I asked finally. Why are you letting him twist everything? She looked down into her mug. He's your brother. He's your son. So am I. But only one of us is bleeding out. She didn't answer. So I told her everything. The messages. The lawsuit. The voicemail. The deposition. And then I pulled out the letter. The one she wrote me years ago. I laid it on the table. You covered for him then. Are you going to do it now? Tears welled in her eyes. You don't understand. He always needed more help. You were always stronger. I stared at her. That's not love. That's favoritism. She didn't deny it. When I left, I didn't say goodbye. I didn't hug her. Something in me was done begging. Later that night, I sat at my desk and started writing a statement. For the court. For myself. For everyone who still thought this was a sibling squabble. I wrote for hours. Ripping open every scar. Naming every wound. It wasn't just about the lawsuit anymore. It was about the story he'd been allowed to tell for too long. I wasn't the safe one, or the strong one. I was just the one who stayed quiet. Not anymore. Courtroom air feels different. It's dry, too cold, like a hospital waiting room with a gavel. People talk in hushed tones, but no one whispers kindness. It's all legal theater, sharp suits and silence sharpened into weapons. I sat there in the front row beside Marissa, my fingers digging crescents into my knees, watching Connor pretend to be a victim. He wore a navy blue blazer I knew he borrowed. Hair slicked back, a slight limp he'd never had before. His lawyer spoke like he was defending a child war hero. Mr. Thompson has suffered emotional and reputational damage that has affected every area of his life. Damage? He was couch surfing and scamming long before he came to my house. Then came the witness list. He called my mother. When they said her name, something inside me cracked. She stood, walked to the front like she was walking to confession. When she raised her right hand, I swear my heart stopped. She was sworn in, and then she spoke. Connor always struggled. He had a harder time growing up, but he never hurt anyone intentionally. I looked at her. She didn't look back. The lawyer asked, "Did you ever witness your older son verbally abuse or intimidate Connor?" She paused, just long enough to wound me. He could be stern, controlling. He was always the responsible one. My jaw clenched. Marissa reached for my hand, but I didn't move, because I knew what was coming. Connor took the stand next. He cried. Of course he cried. Told the court how I mocked him, how I held money over his head, how I turned Marissa against him. Said he was trying to rebuild his life, but I humiliated him, threw him out like trash, slandered him to the whole family. Not once did he mention the late-night whisper in the kitchen, the offer, the DM, just that blank stare and trembling voice, like he was the protagonist of a redemption arc. My lawyer stood to cross-examine. "Mr. Thompson, is it true you sent a message to the defendant's fiancée stating, 'I still love you'? You settled. You could have had more." Connor blinked. I was emotional. It wasn't serious. "Did you, or did you not, also say in a voicemail, quote, 'You're the consolation prize'?" His eyes flicked to me. That was taken out of context. "Is this your voice?" she asked, and played the recording. Silence. Then my voice. Then his. The courtroom changed. Whispers. A shift. Something tangible. Real. The judge lifted his head slightly, like someone cracked the window. Connor stammered. Said we were both toxic. That our family was broken. That I'd always made him feel small. When it was over, the judge recessed for the day. I walked out into the hallway feeling like I'd just held my breath for 4 hours. Outside, my mom was waiting. "I didn't want to hurt you," she said softly. "But you did. He's still your brother. And I'm still your son." She reached for me. I stepped back. "I'm not playing referee anymore," I said. "You picked your side." That night, Marissa and I ordered takeout and ate on the living room floor. Neither of us said much. We didn't need to. Something had shifted. I was no longer defending myself. I was exposing him. And in the morning, I was going to take the stand. The moment they called my name, the room shrank. Every eye turned. My heartbeat pounded like a war drum in my throat. But I stood, walked forward, swore myself in with a voice that barely sounded like mine. My lawyer gave me a nod. Then it began. "Can you state your name for the record?" "Jack Thompson." "And your relationship to the plaintiff?" "He's my younger brother." I said it flatly. Not bitter. Not broken. Just a fact. A wound I'd stopped trying to bandage. "Tell us, in your own words, what happened." I took a breath and started from the beginning. How I let him in. How I thought I was helping him. How he blurred every line, chipped at every boundary, until he made a play for the one person who believed in me. I kept it steady, honest, didn't embellish. He waited until I wasn't home. He whispered to her in the dark, told her I didn't deserve her, that she could do better, that I'd never know. A gasp somewhere in the room. Maybe a juror. Maybe my own mother. She said no. He tried again. Then, when I kicked him out, he sued me. I paused, looked right at the judge. This isn't about damages. It's not about emotional distress. It's revenge. He wanted my life. And when he couldn't have it, he tried to destroy it. Connor's lawyer stood for cross. "Mr. Thompson, you say you were helping your brother, but wasn't it true that you often spoke down to him? Treated him like a burden?" I gave him a place to stay. Food. No rent. No expectations except respect. But you admit he struggled emotionally, that he felt inferior to you. He chose that narrative. I didn't create it. She leaned in. Isn't it possible your fiancé encouraged the connection? That perhaps there was mutual interest? Marissa stood. Objection. The judge banged his gavel. Miss Cartwright, sit down. That will be stricken from the record. But the damage was already there. Whispered through the air like smoke. The lawyer smirked. Sat down. Court recessed early that day. I walked out, shoulders tight, vision tunneled. Outside, Connor was waiting. Leaned against the wall like this was just another poker game. You really brought out the Oscar speech, huh? I didn't stop. Didn't look. You think you're winning? He called. You think they believe you? You're not the good guy, Jack. You're just the guy who tells better stories. I turned back. And you're the guy who got caught in every single one. His jaw twitched. Then he smiled. That slow, venom-laced grin. You've got a weakness. You still want them to love you. Mom. The family. All of them. You still think truth wins. I don't, I said. But I'm still going to speak it. Every damn time. That night, Marissa and I went through our final files. The hard drive. We knew the verdict could go either way. Truth doesn't always win. Not in court. Not in families. But silence. Silence always loses. The trial would end tomorrow. And whatever happened next, I was ready to burn the last bridge. Just to make sure he couldn't cross it again. Verdict day felt like walking to my own funeral, but I wore a suit anyway. Marissa pressed her palm to my chest before we walked into the courthouse. Still breathing, she whispered. I nodded. Just barely. The courtroom was full. My mom was there again, clutching tissues, flanked by two cousins who hadn't spoken to me in months. Connor walked in like he was attending a movie premiere. Chin up. Smile rehearsed. I didn't look at him. The judge entered. Everyone stood. Saturday. Waited. The jury foreman stood. In the matter of Thompson versus Thompson, we find in favor of the defendant. My breath left me. Just gone. Further, we find the plaintiff's claims to be without merit and recommend that the court consider sanctions against the plaintiff and his legal team. Connor didn't move. Just stared ahead like he didn't understand English. But I saw it, the tremble in his fingers. His lawyer leaned in, whispering urgently. He shook his head. The judge spoke. Court is adjourned. And just like that, it was over. Except it wasn't. Outside the courthouse, Connor waited. Again. But this time, his smirk was gone. You think you won, he said. I didn't answer. They'll forget. They always do. You'll be old news in a week. I'll find another way. I always do. Marissa stepped beside me. No, Connor. Not this time. He looked at her like he wanted to say something cruel. But then he saw the way we stood. Solid. Together. Whatever, he muttered. You're both jokes. And then he walked away. No applause. No audience. Just a man finally running out of versions of himself to sell. That night, I sat alone on the balcony. Marissa came out quietly. Set a drink beside me. How do you feel? She asked. I didn't know. Lighter, maybe. Not healed. Not whole. But cleared. Like the sky after a storm that took half your roof. Like it really happened, I said. Like I wasn't crazy. She sat beside me. You never were. They just made you feel like you were. We didn't talk much after that. Just watched the city flicker. Watched the night stretch out its arms. And in the morning, I wrote my brother a letter. Not to send. Just to say it. You broke more than trust. You broke the illusion. The one I kept alive for both of us. That we were just messed up kids who'd grow out of it. But you didn't grow. You weaponized the past. You turned love into leverage. And now you don't get to call it family anymore. I folded the letter. Burned it in the kitchen sink. Ashes curled like feathers. And I finally exhaled. People think winning means peace. But it doesn't. Not always. Sometimes it just means you're no longer bleeding. 3 weeks after the trial, my mom sent a card. No note. Just a quote printed in cursive. Family is where life begins, and love never ends. I stared at it for a long time. Then tossed it in the drawer where I keep expired coupons and broken pens. Because some things aren't worth fixing. Marissa and I moved out of that apartment. Got a place closer to the lake. No shared walls. No memories trapped in the drywall. The wedding? We postponed it. Not because we weren't ready, but because we deserved to start fresh. Not in the shadow of a lawsuit. Not under the gaze of relatives who sat through trial and still said nothing. We eloped. Just us, a field of tall grass, and a friend with a camera. Marissa wore a black dress. I wore a smile I hadn't seen on my own face in years. We wrote our own vows. Mine wasn't perfect. It didn't rhyme, but it was honest. I thought strength meant holding everything in, carrying it alone. But you taught me strength is letting someone carry you too. I don't want to fight anymore. I want to build. With you. Always you. She cried. I did too. And then we danced barefoot in the grass. No audience. No verdict. No one to prove anything to. Weeks later, I got a text from an unknown number. One word. Sorry. I stared at it. Deleted it. Because here's the truth. Some people don't need to be forgiven. They need to be forgotten. Not with hate. Not with revenge. Just with quiet. Real, earned quiet. The kind that lets you sleep through the night. The kind that doesn't wait for the next knock at the door. The kind that whispers. You survived. And this life, the one after the fire. It's finally yours.